What's going on, guys? Eric with Bad Beat CCG here with Rory, who just top forward the Kitchen Tables PPG 1K event. With what deck you playing today, bro?
I got that Majin Vegeta.
Majin Vegeta.
Prince of El Destructo.
Well, why did you choose that deck today?
Well, I felt it was pretty off the radar. A lot of people online was like, this deck seems like it's rogue, it's tier 1.5. And I was just thinking to myself, I'm like, well, I know how fast this deck is, and I know what it's capable of. It can dish out damage just as fast as Vegix, just as fast as Broly. So, why not? In a lot of the cases, the only deck that I was really afraid of playing against today was either Red Broly or against Gotenks. Ironically enough, I've 2-0'd every single Gotenks I've come across
and I was the only
tournament.
Red Broly player we didn't even play.
No, sir. I'm the match made in heaven.
You know, I hear that.
So you got my leader here, started off, Vegeta and Bobbity. Very simple. He's just all about the aggro. So, once per turn when I attack, I take the top card of my life and the top card of my deck, set it aside. That becomes relevant later for a particular card that I'll show you, but it helps get cards in my hand early and pretty much puts my opponent on the back foot immediately, which is what I like, considering I don't want to deal with Gotenks and other shenanigans that slow the game down. Just move this over to the side. We already know what the leader does. Well, I'll flip it over to the side. So on the other side, interestingly enough, unlike other leaders, this leader does not draw from attacking. So that is the one disadvantage with this deck. However, the leader can do the effect again as an activate main on this side instead. So I still can maintain that momentum with hand advantage and draw 2 at the cost of, 1 for my life, of course, and then I can draw on top. Also, which goes into the first card, is the Majin Quickening. My earlier builds actually consisted of running 2, and while I do still kind of think 2 is really good, I didn't want to risk not having it and being put in life and being just out immediately out of a turn. So I put it up to 3. It's worked beautifully. I've even gotten pretty ballsy here and charged the first one and looked for the second or third just to thin out my deck a little further. So it's panned out very well. I'm very happy with the decision I made with putting it at 3. And for the record, I know you guys are sick of looking at this card. If you're going to do the combo for Majin Vegeta, this card is absolutely integral in having turn 1. You want this card out turn 1 every single time, all the time. Did I say all the time enough?
No.
Point taken. All right, so the reason why, and the cards that help me search that, I have the Hatchak, Vengeful Agent of Destruction. Looks real pretty in my deck, looks even better when it's in the discard pile for its effect.
Yes,
simply put, searches for the primary card that I want, which is this card right here, which will further search for either the Majin Quickening. If it is not out, that's the card that I want on turn 1. If not, then I do the Vegeta effect to search the top 7, look for any green Majin Vegeta. Well, Vegeta specifically, but it has to be green. So it's very, very versatile card, but however, I'm just going to get typically the 1 drop, which leading into that.
Other way. I was about to say other way.
Yeah. So typically I'll get the 1 drop. Used to be expensive initially when it came out with the promos. Really, if there's one thing I can say, I really do not like when Bandai makes a card that's absolutely necessary for a deck to be, consistent, to have a really, high contention with other decks in the format that are just as fast or have just as strong of a turn play. But this card came out of a promo. I got 4 of them pretty easily, and what it does is that when I play it, I can choose to take a life. It is a cost. Add it to my hand, and that of course further powers the Majin Quickening, of course. So this is where all that comes together. So it has servant on it, so it's 10k added to it, so it's a total of 15. And I can also, with the leader, use the Overlord ability to put it on top, to put it on the bottom, and then draw a card. Very useful, especially if I want to attack my opponent, drain their hand to try and not take damage, and then just to get a +1 out of it.
It has to be, in my opinion, one of the most intimidating, just 1 drops.
Absolutely, because even if it's not like Gohan where it has a crit, or if the other Dodoria, you don't have to take life to have that 15 at the very least. So it will always be a threat for 15,000, which I can really appreciate. The other one, the other Vegeta that I search is Prince of Destruction Vegeta, Life and Death. This card means exactly what it says, life for me, death for you. 30,000 is not fair, especially turn 2 when I have 1 die roll, you have 1 energy open, closed or not, you've probably used it. And I'm gonna punch you for 30,000. It's very unlikely that you're gonna escape out of this unless you have either the green secret rare or maybe a negate. And if you do use a negate, well, I'm just gonna stand him back up because he has an ability once per turn. If you activate an encounter, he goes back to an active position. Another interesting side note, aside from being a very beefy butt, I can also overlord him because he's a servant to the bottom of the deck and draw a card. And this is relevant in later games when you're in mid-range to where you can keep abusing this, taking it from the bottom of the deck, replaying it, over and over and draining your opponent. So as long as I'm not forced to change the bottom of my deck, this card will always be a consistent and reliable threat to my opponent.
Awesome.
So, we were discussing the Majin Quickening. Now, this card, card sucks, The only reason that's good is because you chain up. The combo is absolutely amazing, and so you want to, once you have you've taken forward life, whether it's crit or if it is by going to your hand. Please note that if it gets warped, you don't get the ability, so you do not want your life warped at all. But once you have 4, you put that to the drop, and you can choose either one of these 3 currently so far in circulation at the time of this recording. They each all do something very interesting. This one is the glass cannon. It is very useful if I don't already have the 7 drop, adds it to my hand. However, this is a very unsafe play as I do avoid going into this one simply because I don't want it to be destroyed or interacted with in any kind of way with my opponent. But it searches for the 7 drop, real useful, and we'll get to that one later. These 2, I actually like this one the most because I'll go up against Gotenks more than any other deck. Seems to be the most favored one, I guess, in the format aside from Broly. And it just chews up unisons. So a lot of the times my opponent will try and set up. They'll do Vegito. They'll have their dormant potential, and they'll sit on 2, maybe sometimes 4 markers. But this one, when it comes out, you can't interact with it with Frieza, so it comes in safe. And I'm gonna get a unison marker off you guaranteed. The reason why that's relevant is if I am going to get into a long-winded match, every turn that I'm not getting hit with that 7 cost ability with Vegito, where it rips 3 cards and then a life, it just matters because sometimes it just takes me a little more time considering it's going to slow you down to 2 attacks per turn. Last but certainly not least, got this card right here. I do like it. I run 2 of it, if you guys couldn't tell.
So you run 2 of the other one, that one.
Right, yeah. 2 and 2 spread.
So it's 2-2-1.
Yeah, so I run a 2-2-1 spread. So now that we got the big 3 out, more on to looking for a fight. This guy is very slick. He has deflect, so you can't get him with convenient cards like Preemptive Strike or Denial of Hope, but no one really plays those cards. Interesting fact, a lot of people forget that you can Frieza this card.
Because it's an auto.
Huh?
Because it's an auto?
Well, yes. So it's unaffected by counterplay, but Frieza's destruction ability isn't in counterplay. But I'll find a lot of people who forget to play it anyway to tag this card, and they just don't. Either way, more power to me. This card, interestingly enough, cannot be stopped by Trunks because it doesn't come to the board and it's got deflect. So really good against blue and safe. Pops anything 4 or less. I wish it did higher, but that kind of be broken if it could. This is the gravy of the deck, man. 4 super combos. Everyone plays 4 super combos in their deck. If you don't, well, nice knowing you. Good luck seeing top play of any game. So draw +2. The interesting thing about it helps circulate 1 card and 1 card only that I want to abuse, and it is that one. It makes it all too easy to get it under and gets my ability to where my leader, when combined together, pays 1 energy, takes it from the bottom of the deck, and it is a beast of a monster, just battle card for just 1 energy. So if you like unadulterated aggression at the cost of 1 energy, this guy's your boy.
That's a sick combo.
Next up on the list. So we're working up the chain here. I call it pain train. So with the Majin Buu's engine, you're gonna need these cards right here. So the effect of the Dragon Ball is a 5+ in your hand if you just want to use it for combo power. So it's good just for offense or defense on a very light scale. However, you want to play this card to then search your deck, or from your hand play this card on top of a 3-drop Majin Buu. Pretty much simple. You're not really going to do much with this card unless you play Unisons. I do not. If your build does, it's not bad, it's not good. But this card pulls this out, which then will go into the big daddy of them all.
Not the big daddy.
It's the big daddy. He's bringing all the presents.
Nasty, bro.
And by presents, I mean L's. Straight to your game. So 7-drop Majin Buu. He can interact with him. He doesn't have barrier or deflect. However, he will punish you if you beat him by anything that is not battle. So if he leaves the board by a card effect, destruction, warp, if you minus him all the way down to 0 power, I can take any Majin Buu. I don't know where I put those things at. They're at the bottom. I can choose any of one of these cards from the drop and put it in play. Add this to hand.
Wow.
So what is that going to do? Well, I'll tell you what it's going to do. It's going to start this whole chain all over again.
Jesus.
And if I have another one of these in my hand, well, I've literally already gone into the second one just for your troubles. So if you can, you're going to probably want to ignore this. Don't interact with it because it'll just bring something back. And more importantly, which is my primary killer of most games that I've played today so far, is Broly. If you move this card and you do not play it by battle, I will hurt you. This card will beat you. It'll deplete all of your hand, your life, and even if I don't get the ability to pitch your whole hand, it is still 40,000 coming at you twice. And considering and everything in this deck that's hitting for double strike, you only have 4 attacks throughout the entire game. So very good combination. It's very fast. It's very linear, but I find linear play to be the most consistent.
I mean, Red Broly's kind of in that same boat.
Yeah. So you play turn 1 Broly, you get your ball out, you search for the 3-drop likely, you instantly 3-drop, you play the Paragus, so you got that wall.
Yeah, but it's consistency. Like that's linear. Just because it's linear doesn't mean
that's bad. Yeah. It's just it's monotonous is the issue. So decks like this I kind of get bored of, but business is business, and I'm here to win money. Right. So you have next up Bardock Awakened Instincts. The card, not meant for putting pressure, it's just for me to rifle through my deck. I'm looking for one-ofs like this. I'm looking for, Dragon Balls if I haven't gotten them. If I'm looking for 7-drops if I haven't gotten them. That +2 pitch is really nice. And for, it's 20K. Damage is damage at the end of the day. So, really good card. My favorite card in the deck, Cell's Earth Destroying Kamehameha. So I've been on the fence with this card for months, and I have a love-hate relationship with this card because you don't want to get it stuck in your hand, but at the same time, 15,000 on top of cards that already have 20 and 30,000 power. Add another, 15, and you're yoinking a card out of your opponent's hand. It doesn't leave them much to fight back with. So definitely a 4 for me. I debated whether I was going to take out, some for side decking, and realized that I did not want to take this card out because it cripples my opponent's turn both defensively and offensively. Definitely likely one of the best cards in the game and in the deck. And what else we got here?
These cards don't matter.
These cards here, they're not really as important to the game plan. It's just this is contingency just in case my opponent caught me slipping or I didn't draw what I needed. I need to a little bit more turn, a little bit more action. Good against the new Tapion blocker. If my opponent has it in play and they attack and they put it in board, or if it's sat, I can pop it. I can pop their Zarbons. It'll make me get cards out of my hand. I'm okay with that. I just want to, get those damage punches through. And these cards actually will help minimize those pesky blockers that are like 1 and 2 drops. Other than that, Stall is Stall. And last but certainly not least, it is a very rogue Bell mod. It's a nice card. Once I fill the board with a bunch of weenie monsters like Bibbities, 1-drop Vegetas, or the other card, the 7-drop Majin, I can just forcefully destroy it.
Oh wow, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, so I'll just interact with this card here, blow it up either way. I lose the Majin Buu and the 4-star ball, but 3-star ball, excuse me. But on the other hand, I can bring out Broly. So if it's moving along, you're not really tagging, my 7-drop, then well, your life is going to have a date with my Broly and my Majin Vegeta. So either way, you're going to always be on a ticking time bomb with this deck. I am going to close the game out eventually, given that I see these cards. And if nothing else, this card can destroy any one card on the field, KO. Doesn't ignore barrier, but it is also a blocker. So it's just so much utility. It's very versatile. And there you have it. It's a 50-card deck. I don't like really running more than that, as I think it inhibits the optimized deck play. But is this one thing I don't want to do? Shout out to my boy Dylan. He's actually the one that got me on Majin Vegeta. He plays Vegix now, but I like this deck and I want to stick with it. And plus, it craps on Juan, so I'm pretty happy about that.
It's a long ass deck profile. What's going on?
Sure is, but once again, my name is Rory. Top 4, Majin Vegeta.
Appreciate it, guys.